and really changed my heart. And one day, you know, I was doing all the wrong things, and he came into my heart. This time I heard this preacher who was preaching this great message, et cetera, and you know, they're going on and on and on and on about that stuff. Tell them that's awesome. I'm glad God came into your life and changed your life, and that you turned around and you had this conversion. Even if it was, you know, and then you went up for the altar call, and now I knew I was saved. And you know that salvation actually doesn't just come from that, but salvation is a process. And that's the start of the process, right? And that's what you want to affirm. That's a beautiful thing, right? Coming to Jesus Christ isn't a bad thing. It's a great thing. So find that common ground. Another one is know your limitations. This is stamp it, boom, one of the most important things about Ask God a Question. So you guys who have been doing this for a while, I'm going to ask you a question. Okay, you're going to, okay, and you're not going to know the answer. So if I ask you a question, you don't know the answer, what are you going to say, Jack?
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
The three most important words that Ask a Catholic Question can say. Let me tell you what. Because you don't stop with, I don't know. You'll say, but let me find an answer for you, and then let's get together. Can I get your email? You know, can I get your cell phone number? I'll text you. Maybe we can meet and go to, you know, the underground and get lunch sometime. You can bring a friend with you so it's not creepy. But, you know, don't actually say that. But you know, you can bring a friend with you, and we'll talk. And we'll just figure this out. Because I really don't know. That's a good question.
Or
That's
I'll
what
be here
you-
next week.
Yeah, or yeah, I'll be back. Come back next week. I'll be right here. I promise. At this time.
Or you can ask the person next to you.
Exactly. So I don't know is a very good answer. And guess what? Now you have to go do some research and some homework and learn a little bit, right? Remember that blind spot we were talking about? Now you know where it is. And what happens is that all of us, whether you're the Pope and the greatest theologian in the world, or down to, you know, my 4-year-old daughter, we all have gaps in our knowledge about the Catholic Church. Some people's gaps are this big, and some people are the Pope and they're this big, okay? But we all have gaps. And when we find a gap, we can't just say, oh, we got a gap there, isn't it a little cute little gap? No, we say, okay, what am I going to do to fill this gap up? Because there's a truth about God and about what He wants to reveal to me that I need to know more. Look, I'm in a constant process of learning about my faith. I'm always reading and listening and being taught by other people who know things about subjects or in areas that I don't know as much. You and I should all be doing this stuff constantly through our adult life. I don't know. But let me find out, okay? Now, don't argue. Don't try to win. Fulton Sheen once said, win an argument, lose a soul. It's one of my favorite phrases when it comes to evangelization. Win an argument, lose a soul. Because what happens when you argue with somebody? If you're arguing with somebody, are you actually hearing what they're saying? No, you're pretty much shut down. You're like, I'm in win mode. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to beat you now. That's usually what happens. Whether it's in a personal issue or a faith issue or whatever it is. You can't argue. And if somebody just completely goes crazy on you, okay? And I'm talking about yelling and screaming and fussing, and you've tried to be nice like Marcel told me I had to be, and it's just not working, and they're still yelling and screaming, which, by the way, I haven't heard of anybody just completely going on. I mean, I've had people who, they get a little upset, but if it gets to a point where you feel like the conversation is not bearing fruit anymore, you have the permission to walk away. And the permission is granted from God, who gave you free will. Okay? You can walk away. So the other thing is you got to be careful of your emotions. The emotions sometimes get the best of us, right? We get upset, we get angry, we get frustrated. We don't know. Somebody else is trying to win, and we're not supposed to be trying to win. So what am I going to do? Do I get in a contest? Because I'm very competitive, and I am very competitive. Like, I could probably beat you up right now in an apologetic argument. But you know, what good is meeting somebody at high noon in Academic Plaza and like, you know, I'm going to take you down with my Bible verse. You know, what good is that going to actually do? What good is it? Because you could sit there and verse swing with somebody all day long. In fact, some of the stuff that you guys were given, you know, these, you know, yeah, the survival, you haven't handed out survival guides, you know, they're those kind of things, and I've got sheets of, you know, how do you, common Bible phrases to answer common questions, you know, those kind of things. I can give you all that stuff. Look, the Catholic Church wrote the New Testament and put the thing together by the points of the Holy Spirit. It's a Catholic book, okay? It's on our side. We can win if we want. Problem is, that's not the point. Now that I said something very sarcastic, I'm going to tell you, don't be sarcastic. This is my big issue, okay? So you're talking about the hypocrite. Woo-hoo, right here, sarcastic hypocrite, okay? Because I said one thing and I do another, right? But when I go out and I evangelize, I'm very careful about sarcasm. Sarcasm does not help anybody. You know what sarcasm means in the etymology of the word? That's a big word, etymology. You can use that more if you want. It's like 10 points to Gryffindor every time you use it, okay? So, you know what? You know what it means? Tearing of flesh. Okay? And this visual will help you a lot, okay? It's not just like Velociraptor, all of you. Tearing of flesh is what it means in the etymology of the word. You don't want to make fun of anybody's beliefs. Now, let's say there's a Baptist who's there, and you guys are actually getting along pretty well, and talking, and you answer some questions, and they appreciate it, I appreciate it, thanks, I appreciate that, you don't give me a good answer, now no more. And then they start talking about, man, do you ever any Mormons come up to you? And you know, Mormons are really easy sometimes to take pot shots at, because you don't want to do that even in front of the Baptist, okay? And the reason why is because you never know what's going to get back to somebody else. And the other thing is, there are Mormons who you should probably be dialoguing with, not arguing with, not beating down, right? Another one is, you don't want to cut off others to make your point. This goes back to the active listening. Don't we do that sometimes? I know I've got this big problem. I do this way too often. And when I do it, you know, I'm that big, mean-looking guy who doesn't smile very much. When I cut somebody out, they're just shut down a lot of times. Like, so you don't want to do that, okay? And then the last one is, you don't want to be afraid to share the truth. You don't want to do that. You want to share the truth. But you have to do so with love and kindness and generosity. And you have to be able to do so with the zeal that you've been given by God. Now, I'll tell you, this is a challenging thing to do. To go out there and talk to people and wear a shirt that says, I'm Catholic, ask me a question. That's nuts. That's kind of nuts. But, so you're making a public proclamation that, you know, all this Catholic stuff is really important to you, and you're going to go out there and you're going to tell other people about that. That's kind of crazy. Good. Be a little crazy for God. What's better than be crazy though? Mumford and Sons? No, they're good, but you know, being crazy. Okay, so questions before I do this last part. Anybody got questions about anything? About what we do, how we do it, why we do it, anything? Don't be shy. You get a free piece of pizza for every question you ask.
Does anybody ever get like threatened or anything?
Well, there was a stabbing. But other than that, no, I don't think anybody's ever been threatened. I've never heard of any kind of real confrontation. And the reason why is because first of all, we put people in groups, and last year there were only groups.
There's only two groups of two. We'll talk about this.
Yeah, we're going to put you in groups of 3 though, okay? So you should have at least one member of your group that's got some experience in doing that.
They're usually very peaceful conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've never had any argument where it got nasty. And that's really only because just the way we approach it.
Exactly. Okay, so if your brother Jed up there, yelling at people, what's the reaction going to be? What happens? Y'all ever seen Brother Jed? How many of you guys have seen Brother Jed or some of these people?
Is he Catholic?
He's not Catholic. He's very far from Catholic. Okay, he's Brother Jed. Okay, let me be Brother Jed for just a minute. Okay, he does. He gets a little the megaphone. All you adulterers and fornicators and homosexuals are going to hell, because God is going to damn you all to hell because you people are sinners and you need the grace of Jesus Christ to come to salvation, and you need to come to Him right now. No, and then somebody comes up and says, "Are you crazy? The Bible actually says this." He goes, "You don't know the Bible. The Bible actually teaches this in John chapter 4." And he's going to start verse slinging with somebody, and then an atheist comes up with their Spaghetti Monster T-shirt on, because the atheist group on campus, and they're going to say, "Are you crazy? There is no God." And he's going to yell back, "There is a God. God has revealed Himself to us through His Holy Scriptures." And now all we've got going on is a yelling match, okay? And you know what we do at Ask Gather a Question? We go in the crowd and stand at the back of the crowd with our T-shirts, and we're nice and we talk to people. And people say, "Are you part of this?" And you say, "No, we're not part of this. We're Catholic. We don't have anything to do with Brother Jed." But he draws a crowd, so we like to stand right here. And we've had 2 editorials in the battalion about Ask Catholic that have mentioned Ask Catholic Questions. Both of them have been very positive about it. Now this is the battalion, about faith issues. One of them was a whole thing juxtaposing the Brother Jed kind of evangelist with Ask Catholic Questions, saying, this is, if you really want to talk to somebody who doesn't have faith, as somebody who doesn't have a faith, you don't do it like this, you do it like the Catholics. So that'll tell you something. We stand there and we talk to people and we greet people as they go by. We allow them by their own free will to kind of ask us questions. You can ask. I mean, the way I'm a little bit more outgoing than some people. If you're kind of the quiet time, you just stand there and smile. That's fine. I'm the kind of person who's like, okay, come on, you got a question, let's go. Come on, I know you got a question. Ask me a question. No, I mean, I don't know. But you know, seriously, just joking with people and stuff like that as they're walking by and trying to engage them. And you'd be surprised if you do something like that, how many people will actually stop and go, whoop, oh, I do have a question. Because they're thinking about it as they're going by. And now you, by just talking to them, you've given them permission to talk back. Right? And then they say, I do have a question. And then allow them to voice their question. So what's your question? Well, what is it with the priests in the Catholic Church? I never understood the whole priesthood thing. Well, I'll get to your question in just a second. What's your name first? That's how we talk, okay? Anybody else got questions? The best way to learn how to do this is to go do it with somebody who's done it before. And right now, we have great opportunity. You know why we have great opportunity? Because the MSC is open. It's so great. I love the MSC.
Pond.
Yeah, you can go.
Air conditioning.
Exactly. Well, you go to Sabisa. You go stand outside, go inside. You go to the Commons. You go to the Quad. You can go to Academic Plaza. You can go to the West Campus. You can go to MSC. All these places where there's traffic. And you want to stand there and you try it out. And the point is, we ask people to commit to 1 hour a week minimum. You don't have to do more, but at least 1 hour a week. Put on the shirt, join your group within your schedule and your time frame, and join 2 other people. Go on campus and just talk to people. And if you're kind of freaked out, a little scared the first couple times, that's natural. Let the other people, let the other people carry the conversation. So, yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
What if you're in a group and one of the people in your group is answering a question wrong?
Okay. Here, well, first of all, I would suggest this. First of all, that you have one-on-one conversations, not one-on-2 or one-on-3. Okay. So if I'm talking to you and there's 2 other people in my group, the 2 other people should not be standing right here, engaged in all 3 of you trying to do this. Okay, because then that person's going to feel gamed up on. Right. You do it one-on-one more than anything. The other person should stand back and try to be quietly a witness to it. If somebody is saying something that's absolutely, positively, doctrinally incorrect, and it's heresy, you might say, well, actually, the church teaches this, and it's a little bit different. You want to correct it in a very fraternal way, in a nice way. If somebody is just a little bit off on something, got a Bible verse wrong, or this or that, kind of misquoted this or that. It's nothing super important. I probably wouldn't do it until after they were done. I'd pull them aside and say, well, actually, this is what the church teaches, okay? So it depends on the importance of it. But remember, we're all going to make mistakes. I've misquoted people and messed up stuff.
And don't be offended if someone sort of corrects you as part of your group. Mm-hmm. There's a lot.
Yeah. You're working together, you know.
Yeah, and try not to do it as, gang up on people and stuff like that either. Good question. Anybody else?
Do you have any information or stuff that we can give to people?
Yeah, we can certainly give them St. Mary's stuff. You can give them pamphlets and other things that we carry downstairs, which we need to refill that rack again. But, there are some of these things that you can be given.
Feel free to hand these out.
Yeah, you can actually give those out if you want.
There's so many apologetics.
We have tons of apologetic materials now with easy question answers and other stuff like that. Somebody wants to know more about the Catholic Church, they will look us up on the website, or you can talk to a staff member. And by the way, if your whole group doesn't feel equipped to answer specific questions, you can always say, you can go talk to Marcel or Father David.
I'll give you my number here.
So,
yeah, that's fine.
Any other questions? Okay, now I'm going to tell you this little thing about why Catholics don't vote. All right? Real quick.
Write some stuff on the board.
Yeah, you write on the board. Now,
That's nothing.
if you guys, why Catholics don't evangelize? Now, you guys all know who Moses is, right? Pretty cool guy. Old Testament prophet, patriarch. He gets a call from God. He goes out into the desert, and this bush starts to get on fire, and he's walking up to the fire. That's a fire. Okay, that's for the fire. Okay, so here he is out in the desert, and it says in chapter 3 of Exodus, there is an angel of the Lord appeared to him in fire flaming out of a bush. And he was surprised, so Moses decided, I must go over to look at this remarkable sight. Now stop and think about this. You saw a bush on fire in the desert, you'd be thinking a couple things. Think, okay, you're Moses, by the way, okay? I want you to put yourself in the story as Moses right now. You're thinking, Aaron's playing a trick on me, my brother. He's been messing with me this whole time, and I've seen him playing with the flint. He probably lit this thing on fire. He's trying to mess with me. Or you're thinking, there has been some natural gas exploration around here in the desert. Maybe it just popped up. Or maybe you're thinking, this is a supernatural event. This is pretty crazy because it's not being consumed. I don't understand it. I'm going to explore it.